Yeah, not bad. It was a long, long storm. Great people tried it.
They blow Liverpool right out of the title picture.
So many people dream about our success. We have to make the next step.
Even though I wear the armband, there's so many other leaders throughout the dressing room.
Step it up, you.
I wanted to play for a club that lives and breathes for the fans.
بشجع ليفربول من 30 سنة.
I was 6 when we last won the league.
夺冠对于我们来说，真的就好像是一个。
It all starts here. You can never guess with this football club.
Fasten your seatbelt.
And Salah for Liverpool! Have a little bit of that!
I'm not the smartest person. I'm not a genius, so I cannot do it alone.
O gosto da derrota é amargo. Com certeza a gente quer viver o gosto da vitória.
I want us to be really focused on the things we can have influence.
Crossfield ball, and Mohamed Salah's arriving! Oh, that's beautiful! Mane! Oh, my word! It's Liverpool all over!
In the next moment, the world changed.
Are you afraid that your player can get exposed?
Good morning, everyone.
Morning. Morning.
Very surreal, a bit crazy.
There were times when we didn't know exactly if we will play again.
E a gente vai voltar com esse avivamento, vai voltar com tudo.
It was motivation to put Liverpool back amongst the best teams in the world.
I've always tried to give back when people believe in you so much.
Je me suis dit que tout est possible dans la vie.
Liverpool back where they belong.
When you walk through a storm, that's the moment when you need support.
Well, hello everyone and welcome to this exclusive Q&A. I'm Neil Jones, the Liverpool correspondent for Goal, and we're here to celebrate the release of The End of the Storm, a new feature-length documentary film about Liverpool's glorious Premier League title-winning campaign. It tells the epic global story of the 2019-20 season and everything that came in amongst it. If you haven't seen it yet, well, what have you been doing? That's the first question. But you can get hold of it. It's available to buy now on DVD and Blu-ray and available to download across all the usual digital platforms. It's, I'm told, as well, so we can make it do a little bit better, hopefully. To mark the release, anyway, we've assembled an all-star cast for this Q&A. We're going to talk about the season that's just gone. We're going to ask a few questions of these various people from around the world and the globe and the world of Liverpool Football Club. And well, what a cast we have. So first up, we have the man who's responsible for The End of the Storm, the film, a director with a pretty impressive roll call of movies on his CV, James Erskine. James, welcome.
Hello world.
Then we have actor, comedian, and a lifelong Liverpudlian. A big
Hello.
How are you?
James, why haven't you put me in any of your films?
Oh yeah, next time.
Yeah.
I'm a movie.
What are you doing? This is for you.
I introduced you two together just so you could get that question in, John. Next up,
Especially if you're making one, you'll be okay.
well, there we go. He's introduced himself there for me. We didn't need any introduction, really. We have, a Liverpool legend, one of the club's all-time great players, one of the club's all-time great managers. He's going to put us all to shame with his CV. So I've got it here: 8 league titles, 3 European Cups, 4 League Cups, 2 FA Cups, 172 goals, and a partridge in a pear tree. It's Sir Kenny Dalglish. Welcome, Kenny.
Didn't recognise myself there.
Absolutely. And we also have singer, songwriter, broadcaster, footballer, scouser. Have I missed anything off there, Chelcee?
No, I'm all right. Nice on me.
No problem at all. And last but by no means least, it's well, that fishing guy off the telly and a red season ticket holder since 1998. It's Ali Hamidi. Ali, welcome.
Wait.
To have you all on board. Obviously, we're here first and foremost to talk about the film, but the film obviously tells the story of Liverpool's season, so we'll touch on all the great moments. And there were many great moments, obviously, in the last year. James, I want to start with you, obviously, as the director and producer. Why a film about Liverpool? Why a film about that season to come? And did you have any idea of what was to come when you embarked on this project?
Yeah, I had a crystal ball and I could see everything perfectly. Why Liverpool? I mean, it's so enticing as a filmmaker, the story of a 30-year wait and a story club like Liverpool, and what that would mean if that title was, which obviously it was finally brought back to Merseyside. It's the epic sort of dream, isn't it? It's the dream. Everybody dreams about winning things in football, but and actually in filmmaking as well, although and yet there's this sort of fairy tale story of it being so near and yet so far since sort of Kenny won the league for Liverpool 30 years ago. So just an incredible backdrop. Of course, we couldn't envisage a global pandemic interrupting the season. But what we knew was at the heart of it was, great passion and emotion, which is, important for football and important for filmmaking, and also, an incredible sports story anyway, with, Klopp's transformation of Liverpool over the last 5 years and, not just of Liverpool as a club, but also football, football in England has, gone to a higher level of, I'm a Man City fan. I have to confess this. So I've come from a very different background. I'm the only Man City fan here, probably, unless somebody else has that up. But I love Klopp. And that's just because I just think he's just such a wonderful person to promote the game, and what it means to people.
Yeah, I don't think you're the only one who loves Klopp on this panel. I think we'll find out a few more of us do as well. But Kenny, I'll come to you. I mean, man who led Liverpool to their last league title back in 1990 and a few more besides that. I mean, what did it mean for Premier League trophy back in July, and to join those dots together? Because you've obviously been a huge part of the club in the interim period as well. To know that wait was finally over.
I think the year before, maybe some people have forgotten how close Liverpool actually went to winning it. And the thing that beat them the year before was the lack of points we got against Man City. We'd have reversed the points. We'd have got the 4 and Man City had got what we got, then we'd have won the league. And the number of goals, and to compete with the team of the quality of Man City and run that close was unbelievable. So they were always going to be in the frame at the start of the season. But to put on the show they did throughout the whole footballing calendar was unbelievable. And they got what they thoroughly deserved to win. They were the better team by far throughout the whole year. And for the people of Liverpool, it just takes a monkey off your back a bit. And as I said at the time, it's fantastic when you win it the first time. But do you know what? It's even better when you win it the second time. So we've done it. Let's sit back in the armchair and relax. They'll be big enough to win it again this year. And I think they'll go close again. If somebody's going to win it, I think they've got to have to finish above us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd agree with that, certainly. John, I'll come to you. I mean, you were obviously will remember the 1990 and the sides of the 80s, and obviously have seen the sides in the interim. Was there ever a point where you did start to wonder, am I ever going to see Liverpool win the league again? Because I mean, 30 years, it's so much can happen, so much has happened in the world and in every walk of life.
Well, certainly, because if you look at the money that came in and the sources of money and the transformation of clubs like Man City that was driven by finance, there was always a danger, particularly when we went through the Gillette and Hicks phase, that the club was all of a sudden never going to find a safe pair of hands to run it, but also the finances that you need to have to compete at the top level. So there was a little bit of fear. And also, I'm the generation, like a lot of people who will watch the film, who've got my kids who have grown up their whole life without them ever seeing Liverpool win the title. And, you know, it was becoming a thing where my kids are now in their 20s and it's almost like a fairy tale to them, you know. And even in this film, it refers to the Stevie slip and so on. But as Kenny said, we were so close the year before. For me, I think the transformation came. Obviously, he couldn't have come close without doing a good job. But the transformation came when Jurgen came. Because another thing that come out in the film that I forgot is you know, this team's been built to win the Premier League. You didn't just go out and buy the best 11 players available. You're looking at the, you know, Sadio Mane and Virgil van Dijk coming 4 years ago. It's an evolving point, and I think to evolve, you need to have the right person at the helm. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I should point out at this point that this is an interactive day, so there will be some viewers' questions. I ask you to get them in. Use the hashtag on Twitter, hashtag the end of the storm, and we'll be answering the best of those at the end of this. Chelcee, I mean, John mentions there having the right man at the helm. I think that's the understatement of the century, isn't it? He's got Jurgen Klopp in charge of Liverpool and what he's managed to do. And as he says, for the younger generation, you put your hand up when he said, obviously, people who hadn't seen Liverpool win the league. What does he mean, you know, in comparison? You know, we hear the stories about people like Kenny and Shankly and Paisley before that. What does Jurgen Klopp mean to Liverpool fans?
Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky enough, like everyone says, he's a lovely guy anyway. But just touching on what John said, yeah, it is. It's like a fairy tale for me. You know, I've never seen us win it. And especially my name, Chelcee, when Stevie slipped, it was like the biggest thing. I was like, oh my God, I was thinking about changing my name. But then that season we won it. Obviously, Chelsea ended up beating City for us to win it. So it kind of leveled out a bit. Yeah, listen, for me growing up, I started believing in magic when Istanbul happened, 2005. That's literally when I remember like just believing in magic. So I always knew that we'd do it, but just to see, obviously, like everyone talks, there was no fans and stuff, but like again, touching on this, and I think every year we got close the year before, and then finally just to see Hendo do his little shuffle and we lifted it, it was amazing. And yeah, like you said, Jurgen, what a guy.
I noticed you showing off that European Cup picture behind you there. I mean, you've been a season ticket holder since what, the Roy Evans, Gerard Houllier era, or
yeah,
experiment,
just about then.
Call it that. How long have you been supporting Liverpool? How long have you been following?
Well, it was moved to England in '85, probably because they were doing all right at the time, and then the war red. So I just carried on. I was living in Essex at the time, and then I was lucky to live in the Northwest from about '98 when I went to university. But I've sort of, when they last won the league in 1990, it was, I suppose, it didn't even really norm. And then I remember Kenny leaving, and my heart was broken. And then he sort of made me feel a bit better when he left Blackburn. And I was like, oh, we're back in it here. And I didn't realise it would be this long for us to get back to where we belong. And I know Jurgen gets a lot of the accolades, and rightly so, but the whole unit, the whole harmony throughout the whole enterprise, if you like, I think is the difference, because there was a few false dawns. You know, Rafa came close in 2008. You know, Rodgers came close in 13, 14. But then the difference was we've retained the team. You know, every time we got close before, we lost players, and now there's actually a backroom team. You know, the players he's picked probably want to stay. You know, where before they were looking where could they go for something better, because they obviously always felt there were one or two players losing one or two players from falling away. And now I think they look at what happened to Coutinho, and think this is where they want to be, because they've got great harmony, they're heroes, and they can achieve whatever they want in red.
Absolutely, yeah. If I come back to you, James, I mean, your films, I noticed a theme to them. Really, they tend to revolve around a central figure, a genius in a lot of cases. And I think of Sachin Tendulkar, Billie Jean King. The central figure in this film, while it's a team effort and a collective effort, is undoubtedly Jurgen Klopp. And obviously, I think the scenes with him, I particularly, the poignant scene where he talks about his family and his relationship with his father, I thought was particularly sort of moving. But it must be a filmmaker's dream to have someone like him who's so at home in front of the camera, he's got so much to say and says it in such a way that in essential viewing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and there's no doubt if you're making a film, you want the person speaking to be as open, as honest, and as articulate as Klopp is, you know, and that's fantastic. But you know, it's more than that. I think, you know, I think Klopp conveys the heart of the film and the heart of the club. You know, it's an interesting relationship, isn't it? The dynamic of the manager and the players. But where and what I really wanted the film to do is show that the reason why Klopp really connects to Liverpool and to its fan base is because he takes responsibility for the fans as well as the players, that he sort of sees the whole picture. To me, he's a bit like a film director, actually, in that he has to sort of curate all these elements, you know, and maybe, you know, obviously Kenny's a brilliant manager and curated all those elements, but had that history with the club, and Jurgen sort of came and he had to kind of understand that it is about bringing everybody together. And there is that sort of, those little differences are what makes, you know, a great film, what makes a great football club, what makes a great record. You know, it's just that sort of feeling of just taking it from the heart rather than just the head.
Yeah, you've had obviously first-hand experience of playing for Liverpool, of managing Liverpool, of being part of the club for so many years. I've heard you say on more than one occasion that Jurgen Klopp was made for Liverpool and it was a perfect match. What is it? I mean, you touched on some of the ideas there. What is it that makes Jurgen Klopp the perfect match for Liverpool?
No, because he fills the criteria that James has mentioned that you need to be successful. The football clubs that I've been at, and certainly through the Liverpool years, is exactly the same remit that they had as what James was lining out there. Everybody had to be together. Every single person. It doesn't matter how insignificant you think your job was at the football club. You deserve respect. You deserve to be treated properly and the same level as anybody else, because you were as good as your job as what they were at their job. And if you can respect somebody else doing their job really well, you're not going to be far away. And when I started, it was I was, without being arrogant, or I don't know if that's the right word, I hope no, but I was old Bob was sitting upstairs in an office. So if anybody phoned me and thought, we've got a wee guy here who's wet behind the ears, we'll take a specimen out of him and we'll wind him up and we'll try and pull the wool over his eyes. You know, I would have, if I was making the phone, I'd have went, right, okay, come back to you, put the phone down, straight upstairs to old Bob. What's this? What's he playing at here? Then you had, for sorting everything out in the dressing room, old Tom Saunders, who was the first football development officer at Liverpool. I got a desk in my office so he could sit in the same office as me, because he was more intellectual than I was, which wouldn't be difficult, but he was good. And then the best administrator upstairs, and Peter Robinson. So all you have to do is get it right on the pitch. And honestly, although it took a few months to really get us going, we did. And we made 5 or 6 changes that year to get us there, but they were almost seamless changes. They weren't the things that were thrown up in huge headlines. We just made the changes that we thought we needed. Unfortunately for us, it didn't work out too badly. But there's no football club anywhere, I don't think, that can be successful without being respectful of the other people in the dressing room and the football club and whatever level that football club's at. And the people that play the biggest part are the ones that should get the greatest compliment, and that's the fans. They can lift you, get you out of trouble, and really help you towards the success. And that Liverpool Football Club for me was always one component, and nobody was more important than the other. So I think if that goes right, you've got a good chance. And certainly when Jurgen came in, that's everything that he believes in. You look at, even if they have the staff parties, I mean, staff doesn't mean football staff. Staff means everybody. Everybody that worked at Melwood for a Christmas party, everybody was there. The dinner ladies were there. They didn't have to do any cooking either. They were just there to enjoy themselves with their husbands. It's fantastic to see it. But that's what the club really was. That's what the club is all about. And that's what When I played at Celtic, it was the same thing. So it's no rocket science. It's just and picking the right manager to go and do the job, and a fantastic job it is as well. You can't choose your owners. And the owners that we've got have been fantastically supportive to every manager, even the short spell I had there. They were really supportive to me, got to buy players, or if they had money, you can have it. And if you don't get the proper ones in, we're going to be in trouble. Unfortunately for us, when Jurgen came in, he did get the right ones in over the period of 3 or 4 years before we won the league. And when he signed Van Dijk in the January and then Alisson in the summer, after we lost the European Cup, I think he was really making a statement there. And this is us. We're having the right go for this year. And Sadio, he was looking at anyway when he was in Germany. He fancied him when he was at Southampton or somewhere. So he'd known them before. And the players that come in, they're Jurgen's type of people, type of players. So, as I said at the time, we're in very good hands.
I hope he stays for another 15 years. I don't think he will. I'm dreading that day. I think every Liverpool fan is dreading the day he leaves, to be honest, already.
But
where's he going to go?
Why be sceptical?
I'm not sceptical.
We should just enjoy the moment.
I know.
And by the way, if he wants to go,
fair enough.
We're upset, but by the way, it's been fantastic.
Yeah. Well, we've all been through it once when you left, Kenny, and what that felt like back then. So we're a little bit
the only difference was they were cheering when I left.
They definitely were.
Stop it.
They definitely were. I was cheering when you left Blackburn, that's for sure. But but yeah, that's.
If I just
go on, Neil. Sorry,
if I bring John into this, I mean, what were your thoughts when Jurgen's appointed? Because obviously Brendan had a good go. As Ali said earlier, he had a good, very close to win the league not that long before he left. And then obviously, I mean, I was working at the local paper at the time, and I remember the excitement that surrounded Jurgen, the idea that Klopp was going to come to Liverpool. I think it was the first time I'd ever come across this website called Flight Radar, where people were watching his flight coming over from Germany and that kind of thing. There was sort of this real mania about it. Did you share in that, and were you sort of excited about what was to come, the ride that was going to come?
Yeah, I mean, for me, there was, all of this stuff about heavy metal football and, the reputation that he engendered in Germany, and the fact that Dortmund's like Liverpool in many respects. So do you think he's going to be a good fit? But I always worry, because Kenny was saying something there about his experience. When he became Bob Paisley to chat to if he needed to, he had the backroom staff who were established. There's a continuity within the club and a backbone, so that you can learn, and the things that are successful are continued. And what seems to happen now in the Premier League is that a manager gets sacked, so everybody goes, and the whole thing's a clear out, and the whole thing's got to be built from scratch every single time. And that's what impresses me about the owners and about Jurgen, and about the way he's been able to look at the wider club, or it appears he's looking at the wider club. The movement from Melwood, the structure of the training ground, building towards a future where, like as Ali said, if he left, we'd be gutted, but we'd be left with a structure that we can hopefully continue with. So I think from Jurgen's point of view as well, because I had the opportunity to interview him for a book, and he was telling me that he was given the opportunity to go to Man United, which I know a lot of people know about now. And he went and he had a look around, and he said the difference was, he was being spoken to at Man United about their marketing strategies. He said it was like going for a corporate job, not going to a football club. And that's what you want. You want somebody who comes to your football club who first and foremost loves football, understands football, and wants to play football in the right way. There are other managers, we've had the whole phase with Mourinho where it was all about not losing. No, that wouldn't have worked for Liverpool Football Club. We needed a manager who could bring something in and build on the legacy of the likes of Kenny. Because the other thing is, we're a club with proper legends in the ground. Can you imagine the pressure of being a manager up and there's a whole raft of people who was players and whose involvement in the game is beyond anything you can hope to emulate. Everyone from Kenny right through to Ian Callahan. You know what I mean? You're just there going, these legends are proper legends. You're getting commentated on by Cara. You know what I mean? Played 600 games. Like, if you were going to make a mistake as any manager, you're going to be stood out more as a Liverpool manager than anything. So you've got to believe in the person that's coming. And when he came onto the frame, he just seemed to tick all the boxes.
I think also with the young lad.
I have to say, he had a head start on Brendan as well because he came with good teeth.
No, he got new teeth. No, he didn't.
He's
he never.
He's done while he was
young. All right, listen, they were all there. Wasn't as big as the transformation. Let's be honest.
I didn't think we were going to go for dental chat on this Q&A. I thought it was going to be all football.
Listen, that's the only thing. That's the only thing. Yeah. The only thing me and Jurgen have got in common.
Yeah.
I tell you what, the other thing with now is I feel like he's the first manager we've had in a long time where young kids come through and are comfortable and they actually get where they don't feel like they've got one chance and that's the end of it. With Rafa, I sometimes felt that because he saw it as a risk, you know, but with Jurgen, you actually feel like these young lads coming through now are actually going to prosper like the Robbies and Steve McManamans and stuff of the past. That's what I really see.
That's a massive point. The recruitment. When you look at the players that we've signed, they've not all been obvious signings. You know, Virgil and Ali. You look, they're obvious. Alisson and so on. They're obvious. That's what we need. But some of the players that we've signed, like Robbo, who's just bloomed. He wouldn't have been on the shopping list of the top 5 clubs in the Premier League.
Not even one out.
Relegated in the Premier League, obviously, as well,
Relegated Newcastle team. No one would have fancied him. But when we lost that final in Kiev, I looked at him. He was I felt our standout player on the pitch who actually looked like he belonged on that stage that night, where a lot of them, probably didn't live up to his pedigree. And that's incredible sort of recruitment.
Absolutely. Chelcee, if I bring you in on this, I mean, it's a good point that Ali and John raised about. Obviously, there are a few more now, obviously, with the likes of Curtis Jones emerging out of the academy. But Trent Alexander-Arnold, what a huge role he played. And as someone from the city and someone who plays football themselves, what does that mean to see a homegrown Scouser playing for Liverpool, and not just playing for Liverpool, but winning trophies and becoming one of the world's best?
Yeah, like the boys said then, we didn't give the youth like a lot of the chance, did we really? And now, Trent's turned out to be probably the best right back, everyone's saying, in the country, if not definitely top 3 in the world. And yeah, it's just good. It's inspirational. I'm all about that. Obviously, like I said, I've been going to Anfield since I was a kid, and I played at Liverpool when I was 9 till I was 16 for the women. And we used to, see some of the lads and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just inspirational. And I think, like, just touching on Klopp again, I honestly do feel like he is like a Scouser, isn't he? Like, there's just a vibe about it. It's like, I've lived in London for 7 years. I've moved back now. But you're just like a fish out of water when you're anywhere else apart from the city. And I do believe that, like, even when I speak to him on a level, he's just got this vibe and he just fits so well. I mean, talking about Brendan and his teeth, but he's a bit boring, weren't he? Let's be honest. Like, and even in like post-match and everything, you just love Klopp's just got this aura about him where, like, if he didn't have the accent, I'd think he could be a proper Scouser, like.
Listen, I mean, if I take you back to the start of the season, and Ali, I mean, this will bring James into it a little bit as well. But obviously, Manchester City had won the league the year before with an incredible effort to overhaul Liverpool. Both teams late 90s points, and I think a lot of people did wonder, get yourself together to go again for either side. But the start Liverpool made to last season just sort of put them in a great position and put them almost in an unassailable position by sort of, well before Christmas. Did you think that at the start of the season? Did you think Liverpool were capable of going and dominating the way they did?
I thought what we achieved the year before was points tallies of the previous however many years. You know, it was the third highest points tally in history, and not to win it, you know, or second, whatever. Well, third because we came to, yeah. So to go again and to do it the way they did is unreal, because I don't think anyone's going to get close to 90 points. So it just puts into perspective that 3 years of Man City and Liverpool just like machines, really. And that I'd be surprised if anyone, you know, gets to that level for, you know, maybe a couple of years just to recover after this. But when the start is everything, isn't it? You can't win anything in the first 10, 15 games, but you can certainly lose it. And you see players' confidence, you know, fall away, and then it's just a steady slope. And I really think City this year, everyone's saying they're our nearest contenders. I don't feel like, when I look at their starting lineup now, it doesn't feel like the City of 2 years ago. It don't strike fear into me. I don't know what anyone else thinks, but I feel like it's ours to keep chipping away at. It's hard. It's going to be hard with all the injuries, but I feel like we really are favourites. And I'm never one to say it's our year. I've never said it's our year, but I really want to win it, you know, 2 on the bounce, especially in the weirdest.
We're talking about transfers as well, what you talked about before, transfers. Let's just talk about Jota dead quick, because even that, you know, you would, like, no one would really have gone in for him like crazy. Do you know what I mean? When you talk about, you know, you've just won the Premier League, anyone else, you know, the cities and all that would be going. I remember when they first got the paycheck and they were going in for like Robinho and all them mad ones, like back in the day. And then we go and pick up Jota, and he's just flying, isn't he? So, yeah,
That
just
must
talking
blow
about like
their
smart
heads up,
buys.
Yeah, that must blow their heads up, the other teams, because United and that chasing for that big signing, and then we pull Jota out of the bag, and he's like, "Where have they done that? How have they done that?" You know. And
Yeah,
it's
like,
like,
they're still trying to figure out where Paul Pogba plays. Like,
Mo Salah was not on anyone's books the player that he is now. There's no way that he, you know, I remember when he was persistent with him at the beginning. I was saying, I just can't see it. And there are games where he's playing and he's missing chances, and you think, you know, he's had his run, but obviously that freak season was not a freak season. And that's the good thing about it. And it's the vision, and Kenny will know more about this than any of us, really. You know, building a team is the plaudits go to more, you know, to a few individuals, but it's more than one individual that does it. And that's one of the things that I loved about this film, I have to say, is the recognition that was given to Jordan Henderson.
I was about to say Jordan, yeah.
You know, like Kenny gave him his debut, and he talks about how Kenny helped him through and helped him mature as a person. But he's been massively underrated for years, and I just think that it comes out in this film just how important he is to the club. When we lost it that time, it was without doubt, I think, because he missed those 3 games, he would have made a massive difference. So for him to have been the captain that has broke this 30-year drought, I think is really fitting.
Yeah.
He went through a lot, didn't he? He went through a lot as well. He stayed really resilient because, you know, he divided the fan base for so long. Well, and that's what's more.
Yeah. Did you always know that he would be this good? Like, what was it in him that you've seen from early on?
I went to watch him when he was at Sunderland, and they played a game at Blackburn. I never paid to get in to see it, but that was too expensive of a ticket. The game was disgraceful, but there was a couple of decent passes in the game that opened something up, and it was Jordan that made those passes. And I thought, that will do me. Says, that's all I want to see. And he was so anxious to do well that I think maybe he hurt himself a little bit because he was putting himself under pressure. He was only 19.
Wow.
He's still got nappy rash at 19. And he's coming out to play for Liverpool. And he's in training with Steven and Suarez. And he never, ever let himself down. Yeah, he'd make mistakes, but then so does everybody. It's how you react to him. And it shows you the strength of character that he reacted really well to some of negative comments that were made early doors for him. But aside from what happens on the pitch, what everybody sees, and you won't get a game because of this, but in the dressing room, they must be strong characters. They have to be strong to keep everybody under control or pointing in the right direction and reacting and responding to things that maybe no go your way. And I think in that dressing room, he's very strong. Milner would be another one that would be in there helping it. Yeah. And you need that. But you can't get a game because you're good in the dressing room. You get a game because you're good on the pitch. And by the way, for somebody of his stature to be as good at both things as what he has been fantastic. And look at him as a people person. He was the first one to put his hand up when that coronavirus came in. So he's a good guy. He's well brought up, good guy. And the most important thing of all for us is he's being a fantastic servant and fantastic
leader.
That's what last night, was it a couple of nights ago, the Anton Ferdinand documentary, and seeing Henderson stand up, about the, how Liverpool dealt with the Suarez and the Patrice Evra scenario. But he actually, fronted it up and actually went on the documentary. And I thought that's just, and how he spoke, it's just the figure of a captain that's befitting of that football club, really. And I think he's grown into it really over the years as well. That's the measure of the man.
Kenny, I mean, just to come back to you on that, I mean, you were on the stage on the Kop handing over the Premier League trophy to the man, the boy, like as you said, 19, 20-year-old that you signed with Nappy Rash playing for Liverpool, to hand him the Premier League trophy and then watch him lift that into the sky. I mean, obviously not ideal because the fans weren't there, but it was still a wonderful, iconic moment, and it will be there forever. That must have given you a little bit of goosebumps as well to see the growth of him as a person and as a footballer.
Oh, I don't know who enjoyed it most, me or Jordan, but at the end of the day, he develops himself, right? I've been away from Liverpool for a few years, but he's developed through the way you're brought up at home. That sets you on the road that you're going for the rest of your life. And he had a few good trainers with his dad and his mum, setting him on the right road. Great principles, great belief, great respect for other people, great determination to be what he could be or get the most out of what he has to give to anybody. And to see somebody who's a decent fella step up there, who's no arrogant, disrespectful or belittling of other people, and get an award. Somebody that still get 2 feet firmly planted on the ground, but knows how to celebrate, knows how to enjoy things. I think anybody that won a trophy that you could reflect and say those words about him deserve everything they get in life.
He knows how to lift the trophy as well, doesn't he? He's got a bit.
Well, he's getting a bit more practice now. he only had the Champions League, the World Club Championship, and the Premier League in the 1 year. So he'll get more than that. He'll be all right.
How come you never did a shuffle, Kenny?
Never did a what?
A shuffle.
What's that?
The foot tap. For Henderson.
What Jordan does when he lifts it.
Jordan Henderson foot tap.
Oh, no. By the way, when we
I
won a
couldn't
trophy,
imagine Alan Hansen doing that, to be fair. His knee would give way, wouldn't it?
No, Big Hansen couldn't do that. His feet were nailed to the floor. He couldn't move. When we won a trophy, you couldn't get near it. It was either Tomo in the early days that was off with it, right? Or then Graham, he took command of some of the trophies and you just couldn't get near it. There was always somebody stealing it. It doesn't matter as long as you get the winner's medal. As long as you've got the winner's medal in your pocket, that's the most important thing. No, it was fantastic.
James,
if you don't enjoy winning a trophy, right? And I don't care how much they belittle the FA Cup or the Carling Cup or Carabao Cup as it's called now. I don't care how you get there in the cup final. By the way, that game is massive, and the importance of winning it is massive as well. And see, to do it, if you're going to get there, you might as well win it. So go win it and go and enjoy it. Yeah, it doesn't get you a whole lot. It doesn't get you a whole lot. But by the way, it doesn't have to give you a good night out. And it gives the Liverpool fans of that era, of that generation, They get the stories off their dad about how they travelled to all these finals and the laugh and the jokes and how we used to bunk in and they've all got stories to tell that their dad was there. So the generation that's coming through, they need the stories to tell their sons so that their sons will start coming to the game. And the following's just getting massive and massive and massive. And I think that's an important part for them, to have the wee fairy tales that they have.
I'm glad you've led me on brilliantly there, Kenny. You've done my job for me there. I was going to segue into that with James. I mean, one of the themes that obviously comes across in the film is the global element to it, and obviously, you know, whether it's in India or Brazil or Hong Kong or Australia or wherever it may be in the world, Liverpool is huge. And I mean, I've experienced that in my time, you know, traveling with the club to Europe or on pre-season tours. That really comes across in the film, that it's not just, you know, it is a local football club, but it's become a worldwide name.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously had international fans for a long time. But my way to come into this film was I'd made a film on Amazon called This Is Football, which had been about the Rwandan genocide, and I'd chosen to I'd been to Rwanda and I focused on the story of 3 Liverpool fans actually in Kigali. You know, and actually how they sort of rebuilt their lives and they become like a family in place of their families who had died in that genocide, you know. And I was kind of like, you know, so I spent a year already immersed in the sort of passion of the club and also the sense of the storied identity that particular type of people around the world are attracted to Liverpool. You know, it's a different kind of fan that's attracted to that was attracted to Man United in the glory years. You know, there is a sense of the place of Liverpool that they're capturing, and there's a sense of there's a sense of soulfulness that I've noticed around Liverpool fans around the world, that, you know, they do want to identify with the story of the club more than the story of victories. Victories are nice, but it's actually about community, which is really interesting when you think about the big dynamics and loads of money and the Premier League being sold around the world, but there seemed to be, and all the fans that we communicated with globally had that passion, that identity, you know, it meant something to them. And to me, that's one of the really incredible things about sport, you know, is that actually it's a collective experience of how we sort of define our lives, that, you know, there's 400 million people or whatever, you know, that were celebrating Liverpool winning the league, you know, feeling something really good at the same time. I mean, that is extraordinarily powerful force, you know.
Do you know what, on that, when we won the league, there was a lot of people, you know, obviously other fans laughing at us not being able to be in the stadium. But I actually put a tweet out at the time and I said, after all this time, I know you were there, Kenny, but it was befitting that all the fans, after all that time, were on the same level. We all watched it on telly, or, you know, and obviously some people are out in the streets dancing, but you know, there would have been a lot of people missing out on a very, very memorable moment. You know, everything was planned out. I was going to go to the game with Patrick Berger that day. Actually, it all sorted, and for it to end up like it did. But I actually felt there was something fair about it. After all that time, we were all just, it happened, but we were all, well, when we won that last game, it was my wedding anniversary, so that was quite fitting.
Don't worry. There'll be a good party when it's opened.
But let's hope it's 2 trophies, because I think it might end up, by the time we can do it, we might have won it twice back to back. That's what I'd love to see now.
Oh no, you still need 2 parties.
Yeah.
You can't club them together.
John, can I just bring you in, John? I mean, where were you? Who were you with when Liverpool became champions after such a long wait? You won't forget that moment.
I was at home, like Ali said. I was at home with my lads watching it, and you know, I phoned me dad and I phoned me brother, and on one side there was a flatness to it, but on the other side, you know, I've got 4 season tickets and about 50 people who would have wanted to go, so it took a headache away, because I went, well, none of us could go, can we?
Yeah.
So there was an element of that. You know, listen, there's no way that it wouldn't have been better with the crowds there. As much as anything, there is that bit like we're all on the same level, and there's always going to be a bit that more people want to get in than can. But those at home watching it would have had a better atmosphere, and there's also that bit of those players deserved it. You know what I mean? Because you can imagine again the weight of the pressure playing for Liverpool that all that brings, but also having been in the squad like some of them were, like Jordan and so on, and been close a number of times, and then it's become this kind of monkey on your back that everyone goes, you'll never shake off. They deserve that lift. Yeah, they got the bus tour the year before with the Champions League, but I think it would have been good for them to have got it. However, my view immediately was, if I was a player, and I'm sure Kenny will vouch for this, you'd be so motivated to win it the next time because you want that experience. And so hopefully they'll just drive on and do it again this year. And hopefully now that, the magic vaccine, we'll all be back in by then.
Hey, I saw your vaccine. Fine.
That was Buster.
That's a good recipe. You've got 10 of Marina Larquette's alcoholics now.
Yeah.
They're feeling better.
That was Kenny's fault that video ever went anywhere anyway. They sent it to him.
Chelcee, if I bring you in on this, I mean, you touched on, obviously, the obvious, the elephant in the room, that the season was so heavily disrupted by COVID and by everything that brought with it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of talk for a couple of months of things like null and void and points per game and write the season off and those kind of things. As a supporter, how worried were you at that stage? Were you ever worried that, they were going to get to so close and have it taken away by something so,
It's like, no way, they can't do that. But then when the other leagues started to do it, and obviously lower leagues, I was like, hang on a minute. And then obviously, like I said, it was funny, we were talking about where we were when we won it, because I was in Spain actually with my ex's family, and we found this Poxy bar, which is like the only place that had it on, and they're all Wolves fans. And I turned up, watched them lift it, and then there was like 3 other people, and when I turned around, there was a big Man United flag in the pub, and I was just like, oh no, it was the worst. But anyway, I was on my bill, like having a ball. But yeah, it was scary. I don't know about yous, but when all the other leagues started saying that they were all going to become void, I did start to panic a bit. I was just like, that is our luck. Like, I don't know how many times I've had to say it as a Liverpool fan. I'm always like, oh, we're so unlucky. And then we get there, and I was just like, no way. And then thank God it all got like, it went on.
I have to say, again, and it comes, we don't want to labour too much on how great Jurgen is, but he is great because he showed such great leadership during that time, because he just went, it's only football, and if they stop the league, stop the league, and we'll start again, and that's it.
Yeah,
he didn't believe that. No one believed that. No, to be honest. I'll take death to be in that, like, to watch this lift the trophy.
But what I mean is, you need, and again, it comes out in the film where he said there's a point where you've got to go, right, okay, these things are beyond what I can do anything about. I've just got to concentrate on what I can do stuff about.
It was nice to see that, but still, all of us were definitely shitting one, weren't we? Let's be honest.
I'm going to bring James in. You must have been terrified, having put all that work into creating a film, to think that, oh God, I didn't predict this ending.
Yeah, I always thought they were going to get it. Do you know what I mean? I just didn't see it. I didn't see a situation where
James is a City fan. He would have been made up if it was so bad.
I thought they were going to give it to us on, I was just confident it was going to come around some way or the other, because it just felt like it would just be disappointing on every level, if sport doesn't get to end, somehow, these are people's, I know there's people involved in it, I was gutted for the people at the Olympics, they train for 4 years, and they don't get to do the one thing that they've defined their life by for maybe 12 years, 15 years, I just feel like any effort to let people have that moment, because the sporting life is so short, it's not like, I've had films postponed because of this, but the film can still come out 3 months later. It doesn't doesn't fundamentally change it. But an athlete, such a moment of joy, you know, that I just believe that people would find a way to make it happen. So yeah, I mean, you know, from story terms, a pandemic was pretty useful, you know, in terms of, you know,
it wouldn't have mattered how they decided to pick out who was champions. We would still have won it, whatever way. They need to find us like 30 points for us not to have won the title.
I would have took it with 6
There was no way in this world where we not going to win the title. Whether it was done through playing football or whether it was done through mathematical equations that were going to work out, we were winning that every day of the week. They can't. They couldn't afford to have a championship that's all shoots out all over the world and not have a winner.
Absolutely. They had the winner in Liverpool,
and I'm sure as a City fan you would accept that.
Oh yeah, but you know, people ask me like as a City fan, you know, were you not gutted to me making this? But I was like, how could you, if you like football, how could you not take joy from Liverpool's season? You know, the dominance, the power, you know, like parking the bus. It wasn't dirty fouls, you know, it was.
Yeah,
you know, I want that kind of life, you know.
Is that how City won it?
As a City fan, you still won off the Liverpool title, didn't you? That's the way to go. Good business move. That's a good club to pitch to. We're always in.
It's a small form of revenge, right? You know.
Guys, this has been great. I'm going to move on to the final part, which is just a few viewers' questions, if that's okay. I've got one for everyone, so I'll go round really, but I'll start with Ali on it. It's from Bradley Todd. It says, at what moment did you know that the title was Liverpool's? Did you know?
Man City game at home when we beat them.
Yeah, November that was. Yeah,
yeah, I know, but I still knew we could blow it, but I really felt something was different.
Yeah, it was a dominant performance, wasn't it, John? Was it you going to go any advance October maybe?
No, I think, and again, it's in the film, and I think it's because for me it was one of those things where you think, oh my God, I think that's the most complete football performance I've seen given the circumstances. It was the Leicester game after the World Club Championship, where you kind of everyone was complaining about the League Club, saying they're not going to do it. Yo, what poor team are you going to send where this is going to be a bit now where we'll suffer from this. And they were just unbelievable in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. Trent Alexander-Arnold's finest performance of the season by a distance. What about you, Chelsea? In January when the fans start singing, now you're going to...
I know. I think, you know what?
20 points, wasn't it, by then?
It wasn't even that for me. I think it was there was loads of early games where usually we get a point or we wouldn't get that late winner. And I had a conversation with Andy Robbo. Was it against West Ham when he scored and Mane got a late winner? Was that
Villa?
Villa, sorry, same kit, whatever. But yeah, that and I think that game, same. Someone needs a new kit. But it was when I watched that and we kept getting like late goals, and I spoke to Robbo about it and I said, so what's different? And he said to me, you know, we used to maybe panic and think, because I said, you remind me a lot when I grew up watching United and you knew they'd score like in the last minute. Yeah. You just knew it, or they'd get a chance. And he said, we know that we're going to get a goal or we'll get a chance. And that was really early on. And I thought, yeah, I'm feeling it for us here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Kenny, you've been there and you've been in that situation where you may be top of the league, you're clear, and people are talking about, oh, the league's done and dusted and that kind of thing. But when did you allow yourself to start to think that they're going to do it now? There's no one's going to stop them.
August.
half time in the Norwich game, yeah.
August. No, I think as I said earlier, signing Virgil in the January and then Alisson in the summer. I think we started pre-season, and I think Jurgen was giving the keeper a bit of a chance to redeem himself, and he must have just lost patience and went out and bought Alisson. And I think that really sent out a message to everybody. We're serious about this. And as I say, they were exemplary all the way for the start after that. I mean, and as Chelsea said, the late goals and the 2 or 3 of the games were vitally important to keep the momentum going and keep everything moving. And whereas this year everybody's beating each other, we were beating everybody. And even when City turned up, they get well looked after as well. So everything was in everything, the momentum and everything was there. And it was a wee bit of an anticlimax because the way it finished in Corona. But by the way, I don't think it really matters, because I think when it comes for another presentation, even if it's for the second one, then or whether it's just this one that they won, it won't matter. It will still be a momentous occasion, and they did as well as they possibly could in trying to give a fitting celebration and fitting accolade to the players for winning the award. And I don't think much more could have been done to make it feel as realistic as they tried to make it. So the staff and everybody at the club they paid them homage, and I think they did the very best in doing that. Obviously, I've said a lot of obviously here, I sound like Peter Beardsley. But if the punters had been in, that'd have been the top, but they weren't there. So just make sure you get on with it as best you possibly can. And thanks very much to Chelsea. But it's Chelsea never won us a game. They didn't have the title. They won a game. We won the title.
Yeah.
We won the title.
Yeah.
You can't dismiss the work that Liverpool did, the quality they'd achieved throughout that year, and dismiss it by saying, "Oh, Chelsea beat City, and that's what won you the league."
It was a bit annoying for the film, though.
Huh?
It was a bit annoying for the film
to win it that early.
Well, no, the climax would have been the climax was all going to be the Man City Liverpool game, you know.
But you might have brought it out too early. You might have brought it out too early. Should have waited.
That was brilliant watching that game, though. To have after the Derby draw, to then have another chance. And I think every Liverpool fan thought there's a chance here tonight, because everyone was ready for it, weren't they? Because there was a fair bit of prep went into that evening, because we all must have felt something in our water.
There was a feeling that that Chelsea were going to win.
Yeah.
Well, certainly in our house anyway.
The party sorted, didn't you? You're all in that hotel already.
I wasn't in the hotel. I was in the house.
Kenny was in the house. Kenny was on the. You were speaking to Cara and Jurgen, weren't you? On the.
Yeah, you were.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't be speaking to anybody then, but the thing kept beeping, and they said it was my phone. I said, it can't be my phone. I can't get a picture on the screen without my phone.
The modern world. Listen, another question is: do you have a favourite goal or moment from the season, John? I'll start with you on that. Is the one that sticks out for you? I mean, there's plenty to choose from, obviously.
You know what? That'd be hard.
It's hard, that.
Yeah, you're all hoping it'll come to you next.
Do you know what?
You can pull some cracking goals out, but I honestly can't. There's none that jumps out, and I think that was the turning point. As I said, I'd take any of the goals at Leicester, because I just felt that was just a complete game.
Yeah.
So in absence of anything else, I'd say that.
Absolutely. I thought you were going to say Willian's penalty. That could have been the ideal answer, couldn't it? It could have been that. We'll pick a Liverpool one. Anyone got a favorite goal that stands out, or even favorite just moment in a game? You know, final whistle.
The Derby one, only because the Salah one was good, but only because I think everyone posted it yesterday when obviously Origi got that random goal against Everton off the crossbar and Pickford's like flapping. I just seen it loads yesterday. That was like iconic.
Yeah, there was Salah one against United. I know it was. There was just he was just with Alisson, then sprinted, sliding the other side of the pitch, shirts off, cop, limbs and all, just everyone everywhere, wasn't it? They're the moments then.
He's not in bad shape, is he, Mohamed? He's doesn't skip gym sessions, does he?
Alisson covered some ground that night.
Oh, what a
to
slide!
Celebrate the goal.
Unreal.
Christ.
Unreal slide that.
Final question. It's for Kenny. Apologies to the rest of the panel, but Sammy asked Kenny, firstly, would you get in this Liverpool team? And secondly, who of this current Liverpool team would get into the Liverpool sides that you played under?
Well, I wouldn't get in the team as it stands at the moment because I'm nearly 70 years of age. And none of them would have got in the teams that I played in or managed because they'd be too young.
Absolutely.
He'd walk in, wouldn't
By
he?
the way,
He'd walk into any team. He knows it as well.
It's only-
Come on, you know it.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to walk. You're supposed to run. No, it's pub conversation that, and everybody will have a different, a different idea and different.
Say you'd love to play in this Liverpool team, I imagine. I mean, and to play under Jurgen, that would be, you know, that would be something that you would have loved as a player.
I think Jurgen's training might have been too tough for me. I'm not sure.
But you must
No,
look.
but any
though,
team,
Kenny.
any run of the team any run that a team's been successful in, you want to be involved in. So, just be grateful for the success that we've had, and the people that make it can be the ones that can enjoy it. And for us, they can sit in the pub and have a conversation, and I'll no disagree with them in any way, shape, or form. They can have whatever they want. I got what I got, and I'm very grateful for what I got.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just finally, before we wrap up, I'll go around. But are Liverpool gonna repeat this season? Are they gonna retain that title? Do you think, Ali?
Depending on the injuries, but if in a steady back four, I think we'll win it. Yeah, just
John.
I'd agree. The injury list seems very, very onerous this year. But I'm also of the opinion that we're in a phase now where we'll be there or thereabouts for the next 3 to 5 years. So if it's not this year, it's not the end of the season, the end of it, because I think we'll be knocking on the door now quite a lot.
Yeah, Chelcee.
Yeah, I'll just say yeah.
Yeah, just going yes. Yes.
That must happen all the time.
James, are you ready to concede yet? Are you already given up on City getting the back?
Come on, James.
I think Liverpool are favourites. I think the injuries make things difficult, and unpredictability, and how the Champions League plays out. You know, if you get a good run at the Champions League and you've got injuries, how it will be. I couldn't call it this season. I don't fancy City to win it. You know, I have to say, but could be somebody else. You know, that's
James. Are you making a documentary about it?
No. But what I'm hoping is if Liverpool
his relegation battle.
If you do lose a couple of games, you watch this movie and it'll inspire the players, and then it'll lift you to glory again.
And finally, with you, Kenny, are we going to get that double party that we've been promised, that 2019, 20 and 21 title success?
I think this year's a bit strange where everybody's beating each other, and if somebody can go on a really good run, we've got no bad run of games coming up, but when they play each other, the ones at the top, and if they start beating each other, then somebody's going to run away with it if they can continue to win the games. But if each other's cutting each other's throat, it's going to go quite tight to the wire. We've been through the last month or so with a lot of injuries, and some of the young boys coming in, and they've been really promising. I mean, Curtis looks a player, Curtis Jones, Williams at right back. But as I say, you can't keep depending on them. Even the goalkeeper did really well last night. 2 good saves, 2 real good saves. The Champions League, we were always going through, whether it was last night or whether it's the next game at Midtjylland, it doesn't make any difference. We were going through. That was, without being complacent, that was always a given. But the league games will be really important, obviously, and how they get through it. It'd be interesting to see how Jurgen attacks the game at Aston Villa in the Cup, because if they get beat 7-2 there, I'm sure that's hurting everybody. And that when they won the World Club Championship, they sent the kids into playing. Obviously, Villa's first team beat them. So I don't know whether they maybe look for a wee bit of revenge there, or look at the bigger picture. But the boys have come in and proved that there is a promising signs there, that there's a good support act behind it in the academy. But you want to get your first team players back, and you're not going to get Jurgen back. You're not going to get Virgil back, are you? He's going to boot for a while. Thiago's, we'd love to see him back playing. And
what's a player? What a player.
Aye. But you're as good as him at the moment because he can't play. He's injured. So for you just need to make sure that you get an even run. If you can get an even run at it, then I don't see why we couldn't win it again. There's no the hunger, the desire is still there. They've done brilliantly considering the injuries that they've had, and to be sitting up there joint top with Tottenham on goals, and it's the goals that might do it in the end. So that 7-2 defeat might be more punishing than what we felt at the time.
Let's not end on a negative note, Kenny. We'll say they're going to win. We're going to win. We'll move on from there.
Neil, we might get end of the COVID storm title win. But how many points do you reckon to win it this year? How many do you think a team needs?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be as high as last season. Definitely. I mean, I don't even think Liverpool can get as many as they got last season. Or they're very close now to the limit on that.
9 point drops. Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, but if Liverpool can't get it, nobody else can because they're top.
Exactly. I don't see the same threat, but I don't see the same dominance from Liverpool either. So I think it'll be a bit closer, but I still think Liverpool will be the ones that get it done.
I think Tottenham might run it close, you know.
Yeah, I think it's between what happens there when we play them.
Yeah.
Aye, but Mourinho's mentality. Park your bus. Bring 2 buses, no matter. Bring as many buses as you want.
He's certainly done it before. Well, listen, guys, I'm sure we could carry on and speak all night, but we have to come to an end. And I'd just like to thank you all for taking the time. It's been a pleasure hosting this, and thanks to Ali, thanks to John, to James, to Chelcee, and to Sir Kenny. And thanks to all you guys as well for watching. And if you haven't already watched The End of the Storm or bought it or downloaded it, then do so. As I say, it is available on DVD, Blu-ray, and across all the digital platforms. And trust me, John will vouch for me on this one. You won't regret it if you do download it or buy it, because
and the soundtrack. Get the soundtrack.
Chelsea singing Liverpool is excellent.
Yes, thank you.
Bit of Lana Del Rey as well at the end as well. A bit of emotional climax as well. So get out. But in the meantime, thanks for joining us, and you'll never walk alone.